welcome back. This is Casey, your holistic nurse, and you know I always have some gems for you. Well, today I have a guest, and she is a life organizer. And if you're anything like me, and life and business and everything gets all over and it tends to overwhelm you, this is the episode. Come, bring your book, bring your paper because she got the gems. So I'm going to introduce her. Come on in, come on in. This is Chantel. Chantel, welcome, welcome to the show. Introduce yourself. Tell us
Thank
a little bit
you.
about who you are. Come on in.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today, Casey. Um, little bit about me. My name is Chantel Akar. I was born in the UK. Parents were from Jamaica. I currently live in the US. I have been all over the place, moved over 25 times back and forth, and I had to kind of figure out, how do I put my life together and how do I make it work? So that's currently what I do. For others now, I have 3 children and I am ready to help.
Awesome. Well, you know what? The reason why you're here, the reason why we're here is because we want to help business owners, right? In a holistic way. So there is nothing more holistic than organizing your life. So tell us a little bit about what types of, like in your experience working with your clients, what types of organization you see that is really needed when running a business?
Yes, so when running a business, it's very important that you stay organized. As you can imagine, it just takes up a whole world of its own, right? And so
Exactly.
you have your personal matters, and then you have your business matters. And you never want to get to the point where the two are intertwined. So it's very important that you learn how to organize both separately, keeping the business as the business and your personal as the personal. And so um, things like, your profit and loss, your statements, your banking, your connections, your contacts, it's very important to have like a system set up for those so that the two don't get intertwined and just kind of throw you off.
Yes. You know, when I started business, to be honest, Chantal, everything was organized. And then as things start going, it got really disorganized. So what kind of systems would you recommend?
Well, I definitely recommend a CRM, customer relations management system. Those are really important, and it can help you to kind of just be a one-stop shop where you will be able to put all of your information, all of your contacts, all of your emails, keep those together so that when you have campaigns
Mhm.
for whatever you may be working on, you just have a one-stop shop that can pretty much do everything for you. Some CRMs are very sophisticated that can help you with your whole campaign management. Some can just be a portal to hold your information, but it's important that you find one that works for you. There's very many kinds that you can think of, from free platforms such as Trello and Asana if you have a small team, and there's so many more, Salesforce and all these different kinds that can charge you a pretty penny, but it just depends on the rate of the business and how you're going as to what your need may be.
Okay, so let's talk to the audience who might be resonating with me. Old school, so you have a book here and another book there, and then you have something in the computer. It might seem overwhelming, you know, so many people. You've been to so many conferences, and you collected all this data, and now you have to put it in a CRM. You have any tricks for us?
Well, there's a trick that I utilize. It's just follow up as quick as you can. So, for instance, you go out somewhere and you might meet 10 people at a networking event.
Mhm.
My advice would be is to get those 10 people into your system as quick as possible. Whether that be you send a photo of their card to your assistant, or you enter the information in yourself manually right then and there, and then
Yes.
you just do a soft point of contact, like, hey, we just met. Sometimes it's nice to even take a photograph if you're photogenic, and if you do that, take a photo with that person and send them that photo, along with your name, because by the end of the night they may have collected 10, 15 numbers as well, and they may not remember who's who. So that first touch, collecting the information, for sending something saying, hey, we met at such and such event, and then trying to come up with a medium ground, so something that you both have in common, and then setting up your meeting from there.
Awesome. That's a really good trick. It made me think about like when I go to conferences, I try to prepare ahead. So like even having a little email, short email, that's something you could do in preparation, so that you can email them right away. That was a
Yes,
good habit, but
absolutely. I like that email idea. Yep, definitely. Get in touch, send them a message, lock them in, and then follow up as quick as you can. Yep.
awesome. Now, many people may not have heard about a life organizer. And actually, when I met you, to be honest, I never heard of it, but I was like, God, I need it. Because organization is not my thing. So, how does it work when you work with clients? What does that process look like?
So life organizers, as you said, it's kind of rare. You might have
Mhm.
an organizer that comes in and helps you with your closet, or you might have one that helps you with, different things here and there. But my process is a little different because I started out as an in-home organizer. And
Oh,
what I would do is I would help my clients within their space get corner to corner wherever their problematic areas were. We'd help them get it organized. I do
okay.
it with them, or I either do it for them. I
Okay.
found that my clients would call me back and they'd say, hey, you know that now my space is organized. I'm interested in starting a new hobby or a new business or taking a trip. And they kind of seek advice in that next step. So it would be like we would kind of work on organizing the mindset to see
Yes.
what it was they wanted, and what their resources was like to attain that. And then it went on to time planning and time management, so from the space to the mind to the time. And when I took a look at it, I'm like, this is pretty much what life encompasses. It's getting all of these pieces together, organized in a holistic way, so that you can reach your goals a lot quicker, and be in order as you go along, knowing what you need and knowing how to access that.
In full transparency, I was trying to serve the ultra rich, right? And I met an organizer and he said, if we are aiming, which all my viewers, they're aiming to be profitable, millionaires, billionaires, right? We have to start off in our space, in our mind, and then in our time. If we want to have the same results that people who are high income earners are having, we need the same tools, right?
Absolutely. Like, clutter holds us back. It impedes our process in every way. In your physical space, definitely clutter in your mind. If your
Mhm.
time is, cluttered, you really can't reach your goals and your full potential if you have things that get in the way of that progress. So it's very important that you have that done or have a plan of action in order to make that happen.
Look, I am really trying to be real, and I'm like, I'm not being salesy. I ain't trying to sell nobody nothing, but look at this. You see that? 20,000 emails. You see? And I don't think I'm alone, because everybody wants your email address. Of course, I don't give them all, but over time it accumulates, and that is energy. I look at everything from energy, and that holds a lot of energy, and subconsciously it weighs on me. So digital clutter is a thing. It's a
It,
real thing. So do you
it
work with organizations and corporations?
I do, yes. I used to work more in residential, and then I started working in the nonprofit sector.
Okay.
I found that, when people are new to opening their nonprofit,
Mhm,
they generally need certain advice that I've come across in order
mhm,
to help them get organized and to get their systems together, and to know what type of board members they would need,
mhm.
to make sure that all of their documents and their processes are in line, so that they can get the grants and the monies that's out there for them. So that's kind of how I pivoted from residential to nonprofit. And then I got some calls, and I got some for profits, and they're like, hey, we're doing an event and we need some just logistic help with organizing certain pieces, project management. So I was able to get in and work with them as well, by just looking at what it is they have going on, and are their databases organized.
Oh,
Um, do those that are working, do they have like a plan of action and know how to reach those goals? Or what is it that I would need to help with to, delegate certain tasks to people who are stronger in certain areas than others. So the skill can really go in many different areas, but it's just about finding out what the need is and then assisting that client with that need. And it may be that we need to outsource and hire in who they need.
Mhm.
Then we have the ability to do that, to find them that bookkeeper or that accountant or that legal help or whatever that is that they need. As we know, very busy when you're running a business, you seldom have time to do those other little things. So that's where we can help lighten the load and source the third parties that might be needed to help them reach that goal.
That's excellent. And I think you can fit nicely into a team or you can work by yourself because what I'm hearing you say is that you could serve like maybe a busy mom. She has so many things on her plate. You can help her get organized, or you could take it all the way to corporate and you can help structures and project management. This is incredible.
Yes, thank you so much. And that's been my thing in kind of niching down, because organization, everybody needs organization, from new moms coming home with their first baby or their second baby, and just everything is all over the place, getting in for a little while and just helping that mom kind of tie up loose ends. Or, like you said, getting with that company that might be having an event and helping them project manage to make sure everything's together and organized. It goes all across the board.
That's so amazing. So I used to have this problem where I used to be cheap. I used to be cheap, right? And when I realized, I stopped being cheap when I realized that being cheap was actually one of the most expensive things you could be
Mhm.
because it costs you so much in the long run. So what I'm hearing you say, right, from your services, you can go in and you can set up a system. And when the system is in place, then they can invest in you, right? And then when the system is in place, it's not something that is like continual. Is that correct?
That's correct. I like to say I like to work myself out of work. It,
Okay.
I'm not the organizer that wants to keep coming back. I
Yes.
stay in contact with my clients. We sometimes make friends. I
Yeah.
can always tap in and every 3 months, 6 months, see how you're doing. But I like I take pride in not having to go back, meaning
Okay.
that I educated my client enough to be able to do the work on their own. So they don't need to reinvest the money again and again. It's a process that I want to teach people how to be equipped and then how to be able to teach others. And so that, they can have a staff member do it or a child, help them with their systems in the household or whatever that may look like. But yeah, I definitely don't want to keep going back. The point is to teach the skills and to have the systems set so that people are able to run it on their own.
Now, I I like to be real. Okay, so I'm about to be real. Does there have to be? Because I know right now, sometimes when we talk about clutter, there is usually a correlation with lower income and clutter. But does that always have to be the case?
Absolutely not. No. Some of my clients were not low income, and but just because of all the money they had, they would just accumulate things on top of things. And this client, sometimes she wouldn't even stay at her house because it was just like a storage place. She would be like,
Wow.
the door will be open, the money's on the fridge, see yourself in, get rid of what I don't need, and call me when you're done. So that it varies a lot. So that was one experience that I had.
Okay, wow, wow. And is there a difference between being cluttered and being and cleanliness, like being dirty? And it's because I don't want because sometimes I'm thinking it's like they might think you're a housekeeper, especially if it's like in the home. So is
Yeah.
there a difference from what you do versus what a housekeeper would do or
Yes, that
personal assistant?
good question. And there is. And like I work with cleaners to then come in afterwards to clean up. So for instance, if I'm in a home and we're doing the cabinets, let's say, we clean out the cabinets, you're gonna get some mess, of course, from that. Um, I wouldn't be like nasty about it, but I would say, okay, let's get your broom, and I'd encourage them to come and clean that. Or if we've done like a whole house and there's debris, dirt, whatever, that's the next step, is encouraging them to get a house cleaner if that's what they need, or they can just see it. You're so energized when you are decluttered that you have that energy to clean up whatever that is, because you don't have to worry about the clutter no more. And clutter is not at all in any way connected to like dirtiness, or I wouldn't find or wouldn't say that. It's just sometimes there's so much to do and we have limited time, so things could pile up. It could be paperwork that's cluttered, it could be clothes that's cluttered, but sometimes people know how to push that into a nice corner and keep the rest of the room neat. So it just depends. Sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't.
Because you probably could find the inverse too, where somebody is very clean but cluttered.
Yes, I have found that as well.
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay. The reason why I like to really delineate, because you're doing something very unique. And if there's anybody out there like me who I could clean from top to bottom, but still organization is really not my thing. That is something that is a service that is provided. And do you do virtual visits or just in person?
Virtual visits, yep, I do. I like to just have see what the space is like, and then over the phone I can guide that client on how to set that up. What I find is people kind of have what they need. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I found that when I organize, there's all these stores. There's a container store. There's all this organizing tools and things that you can need. But I've honestly always found that my clients kind of have what they need. It's
Mhm.
never a system where like we get organized and you have to go and buy a whole bunch of things. They generally have what they need. Like now, if you do want the fancy labels and the containers, things
Mhm.
like that, of course, you can always go and source. But I always find that once you clear out the clutter, you'd be amazed at the things you find. You find money, you find time, you find resources, you find all sorts of things once your life is organized.
I love this so much. It's so dear to my heart. I love what you're doing and I thank you for it. Chantal, I usually with my guests coming in, I will give you just a minute or two just to say any words of encouragement. I'm going to take myself off. If you have any words of encouragement, I know you're a very motivational person, or just someone who is just really struggling to get life together. I'm going to give you the stage and you can speak to them.
Thank you. So, I would just like to say um, life is a lot. There's constantly someone to call, somewhere to go, something to do, something to see. And sometimes we have to slow down to speed up. And in that slowing down process, you have to be vulnerable with yourself and you have to say, okay, I need help, and be clear and specific on where it is you need help. And then don't be afraid to find the right person that may be able to come in and assist you and give you the guidance, the tools, the accountability, or the know how, the knowledge in order to get your space, your mind, and your time together. Um, when you do things with partners, it goes a lot faster. And then that issue will be done with, and you won't have to worry about it anymore. And so that's my call. Don't be afraid. We all have clutter in some forms or another, even myself as an organizer, but I like to say that a surgeon needs a surgeon. And so we all have issues in areas that we can get help with or need help with. And so give us a call, give us a try, like talk it through, see where you're struggling and see how and what help is available for you. You don't have to do it alone.
That is absolutely excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I love that you say that it's done better done together, because actually that's what holism is. That's holistic. Everybody, you all pieces come together. So I appreciate you being on my team, in my corner, and being here taking your time to share with our listeners, our viewers today. We thank you for coming. And for our listeners, thank you for listening. If you do want to contact Chantel, you can find her on LinkedIn. She does. I will put the post. I will put it in the description below. And if you have any questions or any comments for Chantel, or you were like me and you have all these questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. It will get back to her and we will give you a reply. So, as always, thank you for tuning in. Remember to be gentle with yourself. And like Chantal say, you have to go slow down to speed up. I like that one.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.